Hello everyone. Today we will learn about Java identifiers, keywords, variables, and constants. First, let's understand what identifiers are. In Java, an identifier is a sequence of characters used to name variables, methods, classes, packages, and other elements. To name these elements, identifiers must follow certain rules. First, an identifier can consist of letters, digits, underscores, underline, and dollar signs, dollar. But the first character cannot be a digit. Second, Java keywords cannot be used as identifiers. We will introduce what keywords are later. Third, identifiers can be of any length. Fourth, identifiers are case-sensitive, meaning they distinguish between uppercase and lowercase letters. Let's evaluate the legality of the given identifiers. Identifier, user underline illegal. As it consists of letters and underscores, and the first character is a letter, but not a digit. Identifier, user is not legal, as it contains a hyphen, which is not allowed in identifiers. Identifier 520 LSF not legal, as it starts with a digit, which is not allowed as the first character. Identifier LSF 980 legal, as it consists of letters and digits, and the first character is a letter and not a digit. Identifier $, legal, as it consists of letters and the dollar sign, dollar, and the first character is a letter, not a dollar sign. Identifier $H not legal, as it starts with a dollar sign, dollar, which is not allowed as the first character. Identifier H# not legal, as it contains the hash symbol pound, which is not allowed in identifiers. Identifier boolean not legal, as boolean is a Java keyword and cannot be used as an identifier. Apart from the rules for identifiers mentioned above, we should follow certain naming conventions when naming specific elements. Naming variables and methods. Use the common case naming convention, where the first word starts with a lowercase letter, and subsequent words start with uppercase letters. Stu, for example, the identifier stewage. Here, we use lowercase stu and then followed by uppercase a as age. Stewage is a valid naming convention. Similarly, in send message, send is lowercase, and message starts with uppercase, making it a valid name. It is advisable to use nouns for variable names and verbs for method names. Naming classes. Use the uppercase naming convention, where each word's first letter is capitalized. Handling abbreviations in class names. When a class name contains abbreviations, each letter of the abbreviation should be capitalized. For example, in the case of XML module, XML is an abbreviation consisting of multiple words, so all the letters should be in uppercase. Additionally, the second word, module, should also start with an uppercase letter. Since classes are designed to represent objects, we should generally choose nouns when naming classes. On the other hand, when naming constants, it is common to use all uppercase letters and indicate the complete meaning of the constant. If a constant name is composed of multiple words, we should use underscores to separate these words. Min underline value represents the minimum value. When it comes to naming packages, it is customary to use all lowercase letters. Let's determine which of the provided variables and elements have standard identifiers. First, judge the validity of these for variable names and method names. User age. It is a standard identifier because it is composed of letters. The first word starts with a lowercase letter, and subsequent words start with uppercase letters. Say hello. It is a standard identifier because it is composed of letters. The first word starts with a lowercase letter, and subsequent words start with uppercase letters. Stusex. It is not a standard identifier. That's because the first word starts with an uppercase letter. It should start with a lowercase letter. Hello. It is not a standard identifier. Because the first word starts with an uppercase letter. It should start with a lowercase letter. Now let's check the class names. Hello. It is not a standard identifier. Because the first word does not start with an uppercase letter. Student. It is a standard identifier. Because the first word starts with an uppercase letter. Staff. It is not a standard identifier. Because all letters are uppercase. Class names should not be in all uppercase letters. Let's now determine the validity of two constant names. Max value. It is a valid constant name. Because each word is written in all uppercase letters. Min value. It is not a valid constant name. Because the word min is not written in all uppercase letters. And there is no underscore between multiple words. Finally, let's evaluate these three package names. Com. It is not a valid package name. Because the first letter, C, is capitalized. Ta. It is not a valid package name. Because all letters are written in uppercase. Ta. It is a valid package name. Because all letters are written in lowercase. Next, let's learn about Java keywords. Java keywords are predefined identifiers in the Java language that have special meanings. Typically, they are used to represent a data type or indicate the structure of a program. These keywords cannot be used as variable names, method names, class names, or package names. We have provided a table with 53 keywords, all written in lowercase. Examples include boolean, and so on. Technically, true, false, and null are not keywords, but rather literal constants. However, we include them in the keyword table, because they also cannot be used as identifiers. Now, let's learn about variables. Variables are used to store values in a program, and the values of variables can be changed. Variables can hold various types of data, such as numbers, strings, dates, objects, and more. Variable names must adhere to the rules and naming conventions of identifiers. Additionally, they should meet the following requirements. The first character of a variable name can be a letter, Chinese character, underscore, underline, $, dollar, or Chinese yuan sign, yuan. The remaining characters can be letters, Chinese characters, underscores, underline, $signs, dollar, Chinese yuan signs, yuan, or digits. When using variables, it's essential to understand the core elements of variable declaration, which include the variable's type, variable name, and variable value. The format for declaring a variable includes three parts. First, type the data type of the variable. Second, variable name, a name that follows the rules of identifiers. Third, value the initial value assigned to the variable. When defining a variable, you can declare it first without assigning a value. However, when using the variable, it's crucial to avoid using it before assigning a value to it. Now, let's look at some examples of defining variables. The first line of code, num1 defines an integer variable, num1 second, and assigns an initial value of 10. The second and third lines of code. First define an integer variable, num2 seconds, and then assign it an initial value of 20. Area. The fourth line of code defines a float variable, area, and assigns an initial value of 123.4. The fifth line of code. Q defines a double variable, q, and assigns an initial value of 987.654. Finally, That last line of code defines object student. Finally, let's learn about constants. In Java, constants refer to values that remain fixed and cannot be changed during the program's execution. We can define Java constants using the final keyword. For example, the following line of code defines a double-type constant named pi and assigns it the initial value of 3.141592654. It is important to note that constant names, like pi in this case, are usually written in uppercase letters, and their values cannot be changed later. When using constants, it is essential to remember that they should either be directly initialized with a value or assigned a value using constructors, as we will discuss later. Additionally, when we write values like 12 or 12.34 directly in code, they are called literal constants, which are often referred to simply as constants. In this section, we have introduced identifiers and keywords, variables, and constants. We hope that through this section, students will be able to describe the rules for identifiers, familiarize themselves with common keywords, differentiate between correct and incorrect identifiers, choose meaningful and compliant names for variables, distinguish between variables and constants, correctly define constants. Thank you, everyone. The incorrect statements among the following regarding primitive types and wrapper classes are multiple choices.